Welcome to Dream Team Scout. This is your boy Tage for Game Week 4 tips on the Sun Dream Team Fantasy. Now, listen, international break is over, yo. Like we could get back to living. The 2 weeks felt long, but now that it's getting close to, Saturday, which, by the way, deadline 11 o'clock. It feels very close now. We need to get locked in again and go for another few weeks onto the next international break. Now, listen, Game Week 4, the major theme here is teams in the Champions League. The double game, week teams that you could see on the screen. So that would be, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle. Anyone that I probably might have, forgotten, Chelsea. And now these teams, obviously, they got the double game weeks. Obviously we got Crystal Palace, got a double game week as well. And Aston Villa, got a double as well, with the League Cup games. So there are a few teams that are in the double game weeks now. And so these are the teams I'll be focusing on more because we, as Dream Team players, we believe, or the normal consensus is that once we have teams playing double game weeks, then the opportunity to maximize points is much better, which we live and die by. And sometimes that isn't always the case. Last season, Munoz and Crystal Palace did the thing, playing one game a week, and they were raking in crazy points. But listen, it is what it is, and that's why we're here. So, without further ado, I'll be getting into the players I'll be targeting this game week. And I'll literally be going through the Premier League table with regards to the double the teams of the double games. I'll be starting off with Liverpool. Mo Salah with 7.5 million. His game week 3 points was only 2 points. His total points is 20. It's averaging 6.7. Not the best. But Liverpool got a game week 4 fixture against Burnley and Atletico Madrid. And looking at Salah, like I said, Burnley have considered 3 goals against Spurs and United. And Atletico have conceded in every game this season. So Salah, although might be very expensive at 7.5 million, I think now you should be looking to bring in this guy in at this point in time, or maybe for this period, because it's getting to crunch time. I know he's not really been full flight. He did score a goal midweek against Ethiopia, Egypt against Ethiopia, just if you need to know that. And I just want to say game week 3 is his only blank week. Prior games, he had accumulated a goal and an assist. So those would be the pros for him. The cons, obviously, that once you are bringing him at 7.5 million, more likely he'll be going down between 200 to 300k. So you'll be losing value. But hey, listen, you lose value and make more points. What do you want to do? They're saying you can't convert your money you're making a dream team into cash. So I'll probably say play for the points as opposed to building the value of your team. I mean, it depends. One is primary, one is secondary. So it's down to you. His ownership right now is 40.5%. So which sort of gives you an inclination on where people's mindset at, where people are thinking, and the majority of people are thinking, listen, it's crunch time to bring in this guy. The risk with him is obviously, once again, is losing value, is expensive, and Liverpool's upcoming fixtures in Game Week 5 is Everton, Southampton, Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, and Chelsea. So that is someone that I'll be considering looking to bring into my team, as you could see on the left-hand side of the screen. I don't know how I'm going to do it, or I'll play it, but it would be Mo Salah would be the first person I'll be looking to bring in, to be honest. I'll not bring in, but I'll be considering as well. Second player on the list, I already got in my team, Ekitike. He's 5 million. Once again, also he'll be going down in value. His returns in the last game week, obviously they played Arsenal, so that's a tough game. He scored 2 points. He's got a total of 23 points, average is 7.7. No bonus points yet. And he's fared a bit better than Salah by 3 points, and he scored 2 goals and 1 assist so far. And the risk with him right now is rotation. Obviously, with Isaac being bought, how does slot fit in Isaac with Ekitike, who didn't really play much during the internationals for France? I think he came on one game for 9 minutes, and the other game he came on, I think, like with I don't know, like a few seconds to go, and so I don't know what Deschamps is doing on there, but I'm guessing he will earn his chance for France. But that's a different ball game. Coming back to Liverpool, like I said, is facing rotation risk with Isaac. So if you are going to bring him in, and if you don't have him, I've gotten him on a game to buying well, if not buying hold permanently, but I would say on a game to game week basis, you could do your evaluation and see if this is somebody that you want to keep long term in your team. And then another guy, I'll probably say a differential, an expensive one at 4.3. That would be Szaboslai, who scored 11 points against Arsenal with a fabulous free kick. His total of 18 points. Slightly played out of position recently, so but he was able to. He's deadly from the set pieces point of view. He's got a shot in him. And I just want to say also that he scored a goal. He had an assist for Hungary during the international break. If you are going to bring him in, he should be gaining value at least 200 to 300k. And at this point of doing this video right now on a Thursday, his ownership is 5.4. So not much people have got him. Hence the reason why I've said he's a differential. If you are going to bring him in, I would say bring him in and be strong and hold him for game week 4 and 5. The reason why you got Burnley, Atletico ain't as solid as they used to be, and game week 5 fixtures, obviously you got Everton and they got Southampton. So that is something that you want to. Southampton, have I got this right? Actually, hold on a second, guys. Let me just see if I've got this right, by the way, because sometimes when I do this, when I get my script and everything patterned down, then you just need to do a second take just to double check I'm feeding the right information. Liverpool, the Carabao Cup, Southampton, so I am right. So that would be Dominic Szaboslai on that, and that will be the players I'll be targeting from Liverpool. If we go on to Chelsea, then we're looking at the first man, and the man on top form will be Pedro. It's 4.6 million, should be going up by 200k. He scored 11 points last game week, and his total is 30 points. He's averaging 10 points per game, which is good. And I know Chelsea's game week 4 fixtures, they've got Brentford and Bayern all away. And the pros of bringing this guy, like I said, he scored a goal against Fulham last game week. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists so far this season. And Brentford have conceded 5 from 2 out of 3 games in the Premier League. So I still see Chelsea enjoying themselves against Brentford, even though it's still like kind of like a derby, some sort. But we'll see. The cons of João Pedro, none. Ownership 41.7, so much bigger than Salah's, and it makes sense. He's one of the more sought out player since the season started, and I would say he's someone that you should buy and hold and for the time being. I know Chelsea got Brentford and Bayern, and then game week 5 they got United and Lincoln. Game week 6 Brighton and Benfica, and as long as he stays fit, he's in the team, and he's one that his value just looks like it just keeps going, it just keeps rising and just rising, and is someone that I would say we all should have a team, or we should have had in our team ages ago with him. And then still under Chelsea, I would say Trevor Chalobah. I recommended him last game week for people. If you brought him in, then you would have enjoyed the 17 points he scored last game week, which was, he scored and he kept a clean sheet. He's got 35 points. I think, has he got more than João Pedro? Yeah, he's got more. He's literally Chelsea's highest point scorer. Still averaging 10 points himself. And if you do bring him in, it's going up in value at least by 200 to 300k. And yeah, the only cons when I look at bringing Trevor Chalobah is that obviously they're facing Bayern, and also Brentford have scored in every Premier League game, and let's not even talk about Bayern. So. But the risk, he looks like the mainstay, so there's no risk with him. And probably he's on top form with João Pedro, so he's someone that you could, once again, consider in your team if you're trying to make your team better in the long run. Another guy that I would say still on Chelsea, and it's a differential, and he's been on top form as well, would be Enzo Fernandez. He's 4.6. Once again, if you are bringing him in, he should be going up by 300k. 25 points in his last 2 game weeks, which is a goal and assist in each, which is crazy. He's playing a more advanced position with Mascara at Chelsea. His ownership right now is 10.7, so still a differential. I think like I say plays a differential when they're under that on the between that 10% range. Once you start going up to like between 11 to 13, then you're sort of known around, and yeah, people sort of clocked on. So it's still a differential. It's a bit tough because obviously Enzo is not really known for his contributions, but like I said, it's the tactical tweak at Chelsea this season, and obviously we know that Cole Palmer is struggling for fitness. So Enzo's a good shot, and the points don't lie. 25 points in the last 2 game weeks. That's crazy. That's crazy. So that is something that one could consider whilst sort of trying to formulate their plans. And then moving to the other team on the table, Arsenal. First guy that comes to mind is Victor Gyokeres. It was 6.1 million. Bearing in mind, if you do bring this guy in, he's probably going to be losing value by 200k. His point he scored against Liverpool was 1 point. Played the whole 90 and scored 1 point. That's not really impressive to me, to be fair. He's got a total points of 16, with the bulk majority of that coming against Leeds. Arsenal's game week 4 fixture is against Forest and Bilbao. Forest, obviously, we know they just changed managers, and Bilbao, we played them early on this season in the pre-season friendly where we won 3 and Gyokeres scored. So I'm guessing that he might probably fancy his chances again. He assisted a goal for Sweden midweek, so that bodes well. Although the game against Kosovo says otherwise. But yeah, I just want to say Forest have considered 5 goals in the opening 3 games and 3 in the most recent versus West Ham, where what's his name? Milankovic was a bit poor, but I won't say poor. He was very poor, and then even internationals, he was sent off as well. And listen, Andrew plays a higher line, so maybe Gyokeres might prefer this, so a bit more space to run in behind as opposed to teams with a low block. And I've probably mentioned this earlier, saying he scored against Bilbao, so that would be a good thing. And just around your thought process, if you are considering Gyokeres. And the cons for me would be that he's only scored 3. He only accumulated 3 points in the 2 games versus United and Liverpool. Those are tough games, but I need better outputs in the bigger games, man. But his ownership is 20.5, so you still got a majority of people who still believe in him. The risk with him is expensive. If you are going to bring him in on a week-to-week basis, we're going to evaluate if he's right for us or not. Looking at the game week 5 fixtures for Arsenal: Man City, Port Vale, Newcastle, Olympiacos, and game week 7 West Ham. So yeah, this gets you thinking if you are going to consider bringing Gyokeres. Another one that looks good as well would be Eberichi Eze, who's 5.4 million. Once again, if you are bringing him in, he's going down by value. Scored 1 point v Liverpool, total points 5 points, but we know he's not really played that much, and we know what Eze is about. But on this one, on the basis of which I'm sort of picking him, would be, his reputation dictates his inclusion here. And obviously with Saka injured and Martinelli not in the best of forms, I would expect him to start somewhere in this team, maybe on the left, because I know Mateta plays it safe, so he might start him on the left. Madueke on the right maybe. And the cons, and as I said, it still doesn't look up to speed. I had a poor outing for England via Andorra in his favourite number 10 role. I watched that game and I wasn't really too happy with them, to be fair. His ownership is 12.8, so he's just gone past that differential scale that I was talking about. And now we're looking at a player where everyone's just starting to sort of, gain that trust and say, listen, maybe they think if he starts getting a good run in the team, then he might start bringing good outputs, because we know what he's about. He done crazy numbers last season in the dream team. So if once again, if you are thinking of bringing him in, I would probably say consider him on a week-to-week basis. And lastly, one I would call a differential. It would be Noni Madueke, who's 3.5 million. Once again, if you are bringing him in, it's going down in value. His total points is 6. It's not even point me telling you about his average points or his bonus points. But like I've said, yeah, Saka is still injured, so he gets an extended run on the side on the right. And he did well in his outing against Serbia, which might ignite his form because he did score. But it's not been impressive so far with 6 points. His ownership is 2.3. So it's quite cheap, and it's a double game week. So I probably fancy him doing better returns on this one. So it's just all in the mind, things that you might want to consider. He's a differential, so if you are going to bring him in on a game week basis, there are rumors of Saka being available soon, so that's been flying around. So the risk with him is that it's not on form, and the rotation risk if Saka does come back, which I believe Arteta should ease him in. So who knows with Noni Madueke, but it's just, these are just ideas, for you to experiment with, ideas for you players to consider. And then lastly, the foundation on Arsenal is defense, and then the one guy, if I was to pick, I was thinking it was Yuri Timber. It's in between him and Calafiori, but then I sort of thought Lewis Skelly's not really played much. Arteta might start him in one out of the 2 games. I think anyway. So maybe against Forest he might start Skelly because we're playing at home, and then against Bilbao he might start Calafiori, but then again he might play Calafiori both. I'm not too sure what his thought processes are, but Yuri Timber is 5 million. You saw the same thing. You bring him, he's going down in value, at least 200k. But whilst Ben White is still injured, he's gonna, that right back position is his. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist via Leeds against Leeds, and he's got total points of 32. He scored midweek for Haaland against Lithuania. And he contributed to Arsenal keeping a clean sheet in the preseason against Bilbao. So that would be my thought process on the reasons why you should bring him in, and I think it's a good shout bringing in Yuri Timber. But the only stumbling block that is, once again, he's very expensive, and that is a problem. If you are going to consider bringing him in. But yeah, and if you are going to bring him in with his expensive buys, you have to be strong and you probably hold. But right now, I'll probably say on a week-to-week basis, but it wouldn't be really smart bringing a guy for 5 million and looking to move him next week, considering he's just lost value. So it's just my thought process, guys. And yeah, that is it on Arsenal. And then when I moved to Spurs, Spurs one was a bit of a... Spurs were a bit of a conundrum because I looked at it before the game against Bournemouth, where Bournemouth should have scored at least 6. They were awful at the back. I don't even know what words or adjectives to use. They were woeful. Like, it was just poor defending, and I don't know. Like, they were doing a Spursy, and I started to see cracks. And then for me, I'll just be playing it safe by, probably picking one player from Spurs, and that would be the man, Mohamed Kudus. He seems to be nailed down the position in the team, while other players seem to, float around with regards to the position shifts within the team. He's 4.7 million. He scored 5 points last game week, so I don't expect this price is value to fluctuate. He's got a total points of 19, averaging 6.3. He's got a bonus points of 4, which bodes well, and that's always good when your player might be having a bad game, but he's able to rake in bonus points. Game week 4 fixture for Spurs is West Ham and Villarreal. And listen, right now for him, he's got the 2 assists in the opening game week of the season. And then since then, he's not been able to replicate that. However, they are facing a West Ham side who have considered 10 goals in 4 games prior to the 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest. And he's playing against his former team. And I don't know if you guys used to play Football Manager, but Whenever you whenever you have an old player play against his former team, he always scores. Like, I couldn't stop that on that game. That was crazy. But I wondered why it never happened for my player against their former teams. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, it happens sometimes, but not as frequent as it would go against me. But like I said, the cons to this would be that it's got poor returns the last 2 game weeks. His ownership level is 16.5%, which bodes well, which shows majority of people still got faith in him, and his ownership is increasing. So people believe that, you know, this guy is still someone worth, you know, keeping and having hold in your team. Upcoming fixtures for Spurs: game week 5 is Brighton and Doncaster, Wolves and Baltimore, Glit, and game week 7 Leeds. So could be one that I would say when you bring hold. I know I've on this. No, I've said on a week to week basis, but yeah, I might change that when doing the editing for this video. I think it's one that you might want to hold for a while. I would say Mohamed Kudus, and that is just Spurs. And then leaving Spurs, going down the table, Crystal Palace. One I would like to mention is Daniel Munoz. I think he's one that I've always wanted to bring in from the start of the season. He's just his price is the biggest deterrent for me bringing this guy in. Like, I can't spend that much on a defender. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. But listen, if you are going to bring him in, his points is going up in value. You know, game week 3, he scored 11 points. His total points are 24. They've got a game week 4 fixture against Sunderland and Millwall at home. The pros for this, he's got easy fixtures, and Glasner, you know, favors a strong lineup all the time. Glasner don't play around with his lineup. So his ownership is 4.9. So more likely differential. And I understand that he's very expensive. But I said, if you are going to bring this guy, I've said game week 4 only. Because then you know that Palace are going to go back to the one fixture in game week 5, which obviously we don't want that. So if I just look at Palace's game week 5 fixture, let me just get this up. Game week 5 they go back to playing West Ham, and game week 6 then they go back to Europe, where they play Liverpool and Kiev, and game week 7 they play Everton. So that is something that you want to consider when bringing them in, or maybe you want to bring him after, I don't know. But I feel like these game week fixtures, Palace could eat up. Yeah, they could eat up on this. But I don't know if I could be able to afford him in my team now with the price. And then looking at his teammate would be Jin Mateta. For Palace, he's 4.3. He scored the penalty last game week. Should be going up in price at least by 100k. Same thing, like I said, for Munoz, easy fixtures. His ownership of 5.1. So like I said, it's only for this game week if you're taking a punt. And he's he scored in last game week and should be going about 100k. So that's it really on Crystal Palace Mateta. So that is one if you are considering him. And just going down the table, Erling Haaland. I don't really need to say much about this Norwegian, Viking. 7.5 million. Probably should go by 100k. He's got 11 points last game week. It's a total of 30 points. And with Haaland this season, he scored 3 goals so far this season, but he doesn't look like he's in full flight. That's how good he is. And he's scored 5 goals and 2 assists midweek for Norway versus Moldova. My God, I'm surprised he didn't get back-to-back hat-tricks on that game. His ownership is 43.3, so the majority of people are leaning towards a Haaland. So you got the stats there. Haaland is 43.3. You got Salah, who's on 40 point something, not too sure, and Pedro on 41. So people still think Haaland is the best striker to have in a game. Game week 4 fixture is in Man United and Napoli. And Man United have considered goals this season and especially the 2 against Burnley, which could have been 3 if not for the VAR. And so this is something that Haaland, if you don't have him, then I'm guessing you got Salah. I wouldn't say swap Salah for Haaland, but you need to make some sort of accommodation to have both. But or sometimes depends on how the strategy of your team. I've only got Haaland, so that shows you where my faith is, or should I say lies more, or you can mitigate against that. So I've got Haaland on my team. I've got Ekitike with Salah in the same team. So I'm hoping Ekitike could halve the damage Salah does. So I don't know. It's just mind, thoughts, processes, and what you think is best suited for your team. To be fair, and then that's the only guy I'll pick for Man City, because Man City, they don't really keep clean sheets, man. And they've got injury problems with John Stones injured. And the other guys, Kusanov and Cole, don't look convincing. And I was surprised to let Kanji go on loan to Inter Milan. So I don't know what Gagelo's playing at. My Ruda with Nathan Ake, who could never stay fit. So that's his prerogative. And the midfielders, Reijsnijder started on fire, but then he's been, I don't want to say pants, but underwhelming. I know Bernardo Silva scored midweek and got an assist for Portugal, but fantasy-wise in the dream team, it's not good enough for me. It might be a one-week punt, but hey, it is what it is. But moving to Aston Villa, got Ollie Watkins, who's 5.2 million. Who's 5.2 million, and yeah, his points has not been great this season. A total of 8 points. Listen, Villa got Everton and Brentford as the game week 4 fixture. I just feel the only pro I could see at Aston Villa, they got a good run of fixtures, but that's the same thing I thought, earlier on in the season, that they got a good run of fixtures and they've been unable to win any games, 2 losses and 1 draw. And if you are going to bring him in, he's going down in value. Aston Villa without a win in 3 and with no goals scored, it's not really the best. And yeah, his ownership, let me just get his ownership up. Just bear with me a second on this. So his ownership, Ollie Watkins is, let me just get it up, guys. Sorry, just bear with me a second. Bear with me a second, peoples. Yeah, its ownership is 8.9% at this point in time. So I don't know, probably could even go down because to up to 6%, because who knows, because it's like it's not been in great form, should I say. But if you are going to bring him in on a week-to-week basis, he's a differential. Or whilst we're looking at Aston Villa, you could do the alternative and bring in Morgan Rogers, who's the same price as him, 5.2, but I knew he'll also be going down in price just like him. And then focus on the other teams that I saw skipped. So Newcastle and Nottingham Forest, I've got double game weeks, but I just don't know who to bring with regards to Newcastle. If Gordon was not sent off, then I would have thought about him. But he's 7 a second of a 3-match ban, and the other players haven't been as convincing. Woe to me, the new striker we've heard from the press, where Howe has said we have to give him time, and so he needs a good preseason. So that is something that I don't really like to hear when managers say that. So he might play or might get subbed off. Who knows? I don't know. So I'm not too sure. And same thing for Forest. I'm not too sure who to sort of. They've got a good run of fixtures, but I'm not too sure who to sort of, dive into and sort of see. But I think we just have to let it play out. Just this game week. Just this game, we can look from the small pool of players. At the end of the day, we could only make 2 changes. If you want to roll over, that's fine. And so, yeah, that is for my recommendations for this game week. This episode has gone on longer than I thought, almost 30 minutes deep. But that's what happens when you're having fun, right? And just going back to my team, as you could see on the screen, I've got problems of my own. And let me just get that for you on the screen again. Sorry, I just lost that. Yep, as you can see, I've got Vicari and goal. I've got Digne, Cucurella, De Kuyper, Semenyo and Daya, Tannen, Reijsnijder, Haaland, Ekitike and Pedro. My last game week points, I scored 80. Total points, I've got 239. So I don't say I'm not doing too bad, but still far off than where I would like to be. And so going into this game week, pretty much the doublers would stay. So that's I'm looking at now. The problems I'm looking at is the Kuiper in defense, Anthony Ndaya and Semenyo. Now the thing with Ndaya, 10 points last game week, should be going up in value, so I don't want to lose down on that. Anthony scored, should be also going up in value. I don't want to lose on that. Semenyo might be going down in value because of he just missed so many chances against Spurs. So, and he's got the one game week. So he might be the one I'm probably considering in this team to Vaminos. So he would be, but for who, I don't know. Like I have to think an Arsenal team who space is more secured. If I could bring in an Eze or a Madueke definitely. Eze, I don't know if I could afford him per se. But then Madueke hasn't been so far convincing for me. Enzo Fernandez is too much of a risk of a shout for me, should I say? And they've got buy-in. The game that's a big game, so the output possibilities might be reduced. So maybe I'm probably gonna lean either towards the Eze or towards the Eze or Madueke. Szaboslai. The Burnley game is a good shout, man, and he was on form. So yeah, I might be looking between those midfielders, Eze, Madueke, and Szaboslai on there, and then maybe. I can't do a double Chelsea in defence. I already got Cucurella there. So it's when I have to think maybe an Arsenal defender, but I probably can't afford it with the price. So I really need to mess around. Raj Niders as well. You ain't gonna just sneak in and just stay there. His returns haven't been the best, although I know he did score 5 points last game week. I don't know. It's one I have to think definitely. But listen, we could roll on transfer, so I might probably just do the Semenyo out and then keep one, and then we'll see. Still not formulated on my response, on what my output would be on my team, but that's it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And once again, I keep saying this every week, and I don't do it. I need to share my team on Twitter before kickoff. So I promise to share my lineup 30 minutes before kickoff, so rush on there and have a quick look, or probably send me a message on YouTube, or leave a comment on YouTube and about my team 30 minutes before kickoff, and I'll let you know who I've finalized and bring it in. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and it is what it is. Dream Team Scout over and out.